So I have no idea what I'm doing for an intro.
Well, I think if everybody's ready, let's go to town.
Okay.
Which town?
Podcast town.
Ooh, the best kind of town.
Yep. It's in Mattopia.
Oh, God.
Hey everyone, welcome to demguyspodcast, where the points are made up and nothing matters.
Ooh, I got it.
Well
got
done.
the reference. What is... Whose line is it anyway?
This is not Jeopardy, SnoShoe.
Yeah.
It should be Jeopardy. We should do that one day. I want Jeopardy. Jeopardy's like one of my favorite shows on TV.
You're in Jeopardy. We didn't get a whole lot of Keep Snow 2015 or whatever the heck it was.
Wait a
comments
minute. Oh, we didn't
on the last episode.
I got a couple on Twitter.
That would have to be independently verified. I have not seen these.
I will independently verify it by my independent self. I got 2 retweets and 5 favorites on hashtag Keep Snow 2015.
Well, that's all right then.
Do
Woohoo.
favorites really count? That's just like, oh yeah, that's cool, but they're not saying it
Wait.
themselves.
I just favorited
That's
it
They
like
just
myself.
want to be able
6
to look
favorites.
at that tweet later.
Snow, that's like someone saying, oh, I voted for Barack Obama, and then you favorite that tweet rather than voting yourself.
Well, no, not really. You're wrong.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that actually applies. But anyway, we digress. Just the typical crew this week. We got Drew,
Hello.
myself Slash, and SnoShoe.
And SnoShoe.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're just get right into it. Just a reminder that if you want to send us questions for us to answer at the end of the episode, we've got some this week. And if you want some for the next episode, email us at demguyspodcast@gmail.com.
demguyspodcast@gmail.com.
Did you have maracas there?
I did.
Very nice. And you can tweet your love of, I don't know, Hispanic musical percussion instruments to us at demguyspodcast.
At demguyspodcast.
There you go.
Hashtag Keep Maracas 2015.
Amazing. Oh my gosh.
We're starting the podcast on a bit of a sad note. This past Sunday, Monty Oum died, which, if you don't know who that is, he worked at Rooster Teeth, but he's done a lot of really cool internet animation videos, and at Rooster Teeth, he created the show Ruby, as well as he also did a lot of animating for Red vs. Blue and stuff, and it's really sad to hear about that. He was only 33, and
It's very young.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Super
Yeah,
talented guy. He died actually of a allergic reaction, an extreme allergic reaction.
yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow.
That's really, because that's a very unexpected scenario. You know, you expect to go into the hospital and you're having something done, whatever it was, and I guess whatever medication was used, he probably had never shown any indication that he was allergic to it, in the past, and who knows for sure what the situation was, but you got to figure that it came as a shock to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Everybody seems pretty shaken up about it. It was on the top main subreddit of Reddit, obviously, for the past 2 days. Actually, whenever they found out he got sick, it was on top. So it's pretty crazy how many people are affected by it.
Yeah.
I hadn't put this in the doc, but I wanted to mention, Rooster Teeth had put out a thing for any fans who just wanted to donate to help the family pay for medical stuff, just to sort of show some support. They had put out, I don't know how much it cost or whatever, but they had just put it on a website with a goal of 50,000, and I'm looking at it right now. You can still donate. It was started at time of recording. It started 3 days ago, and over 8,000 people have donated, and it's over $200,000 raised.
Wow, that's amazing. That is really, really cool.
That shows all the people who were just huge fans of his and wanted to support the family and everything.
Yeah, I think they hit the $50,000 in 3 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
It's insane. Drew, make us laugh again. Now we're all crying.
Well, on a less sad note, my car, I was in a minor accident, nothing serious at all. But my car is getting worked on, and so I temporarily have a new car because they're gonna actually have it at the shop for like a week or something.
So you've got a loaner, you're saying?
Yes.
Is it like in The Mask starring Jim Carrey? It's like, bring out the loner. You guys know that scene?
What a reference.
I never saw that, but
Oh, you haven't seen The Mask?
What was that, like
Okay.
1995?
I'm not a Jim Carrey fan.
You know what? I don't like Ace Ventura stuff, but The Mask is a fantastic movie. I highly recommend you check that one out.
Let's see,
least.
1994, yes.
Okay. Almost as old as my car.
Yeah. So what did they give you? What is it?
Well, my normal... So it's a pretty nice upgrade for me. I actually don't know the year, but my normal car is a 92 Honda Civic, and
Okay.
so the car I'm driving right now is a Toyota Corolla,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very different. I've never driven a car this modern, because like we always just get used cars or whatever. Like, so it's just very like it has a screen in it that's new for me. And like I can connect my phone with Bluetooth and call out through the car and stuff.
Yeah, that was new for me. I got a new car towards the end of last year, because the inspection was running up on the current one, and there was no way it was going to pass inspection. I think I mentioned that before. So this was the first one that I had that had Bluetooth, and man, do I love having the Bluetooth. I make and receive very few phone calls, but on the rare occasion where one happens while I'm in the car, I'm like, yeah, Bluetooth.
Engage.
Engage, yeah.
Well, it's been a really bad week for you, Drew. First, your car happens, and then you lose your eyelashes in a freak papier-mache accident. It's pretty crazy. I guess if you want to see a picture of that, we'll probably link one in the description, but Drew just had a bad papier-mache accident. Very terrifying.
I would be curious to see that picture, because I don't know anything about papier-mache.
Look in the mirror, you crazy.
Oh, man.
That's
funny.
Well, I mean, my brother did cut my hair, but like it didn't get anywhere near my eyelashes.
I don't know. Doesn't look very good. Looks like you have much fewer eyelashes than you started out with. Oh, this picture every time it gets me. Okay.
Oh gosh.
That is so creepy.
I love the nose holes.
I think
definitely.
If you look closely, you can see he lost a couple eyebrow hairs as well.
Oh, don't zoom in.
Definitely.
I accidentally zoomed in. That's scary.
Oh man, yeah, that's a high resolution photo right there.
Not even taken with the camera that is in the background.
I didn't even notice the camera. Yeah, look at that. There's a Nikon sitting back there, and they just took a picture with their cell phone.
Poor Drew.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to know what we're talking about, take a look at the picture. I'll link it in the description. But the story was like the top story on Reddit when we started recording. This guy was doing a paper mache of his face, and when he pulled it off his face, his eyelashes came with it, and it's really gross. So enjoy that.
Why didn't you think it? Like, what made that person think that was not gonna happen?
You'd have, well, I mean, people, you know.
I feel like people have done this before, and there's got to be some kind of like preventative measure to take.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
it looks painful.
If there's one thing that I have learned, it is that people are crazy. In fact, segueing into my next topic.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I've been watching a lot of the TV show Supernatural off of Netflix lately, and one of the things that he says frequently in Supernatural is like, monsters I get, people are crazy. Because if you're not familiar with the show, it's about these two brothers, and they kind of crisscross the country and fight all sorts of supernatural baddies, like werewolves and vampires and ghosts and demons and all of this stuff, right? And they touch into a whole lot of, like Roman mythology is in there, and other types of obscure monsters, and they dive into a whole bunch of lore from a bunch of different cultures, and it's really entertaining because there's a lot of really great sort of geeky humor throughout it as well, and self-referential stuff, and they don't take themselves too seriously, which I love. But yeah, there are 9 seasons on Netflix.
Wow.
The 10th season is currently airing on the CW.
That's a long show.
It has been on for a long, long time. And I think we started watching Supernatural, like I'm gonna say mid to end November.
Wow.
So that gives you an idea of how fast we've been ripping through Supernatural. We watch like 3-4 episodes every night.
Wait, so this is a show you watch with your wife?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, she loves it.
I wish, my fiance and I, we are not together show watchers. It's impossible. I don't know how you do it. Like, we've started so many shows, and then there's just this period which neither of us can sit down together on the couch to watch the show. Like, how do you have that, what's the word? That kind of consistency to sit down and watch 4 seasons of a show?
Well, I mean...
Perseverance is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the fact that it's a lot easier with Netflix to sit down and watch a show and have it just continue on, because it automatically goes to the next episode, than it is to, the stuff that's airing right now that we had been keeping up with, we keep up with via Hulu, because we got rid of, to reduce our cable costs, we went down to the lowest possible package that we could get, and which doesn't include a DVR.
Right.
Because there's a per month charge for that. So it's like, we don't really need it, we'll just go to Hulu for the recurring stuff, the stuff that's on right now, and or like the CBS stuff, they have their own website for that. And then all the old stuff we could just catch on Netflix. We'll add Netflix streaming. And we've just found that it's a lot easier just to do the Netflix streaming, because the only way that we can watch Hulu comfortably, because we don't have Hulu Plus, is to hook the laptop up to the TV. And it's a pain in the butt to hook up all the wires and try and get all the sound stuff working, because that doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't send the sound through the cable properly when I plug the cable in.
Oh yeah, you actually have to go into your audio settings on your computer.
Exactly.
I've done that.
So I have to muck about. And it's just like, whatever, it's just so much easier just to watch the current show and just, like we picked Supernatural and let's just go. And we started watching Supernatural because we're big fans of Sherlock. We're big fans of Doctor Who. And I was seeing online that a lot of people who are fans of those are also fans of Supernatural. They call the sort of combined fandom Super Who-lock.
Wow.
Super Who-lock.
As like a whole together, like people like Sherlock, Doctor Who, Supernatural as a combined entity.
Interesting.
And so we're like, hey, we're waiting on more Doctor Who at this point. We've been waiting on more Sherlock for 50 years. let's check out this Supernatural thing that everybody's talking about. And we loved it pretty much right from the start. And then it really picked up start of season 3. They really found like their groove or something, and it has been running like on I don't know, full all cylinders for ever since then. And like I said, we've almost finished season 9, I guess. I think we have 6 episodes left.
Wow.
In the current season, and then we're done with that, and then we're caught up to the season that's airing on TV now.
Wait, so you're 9 seasons in? I thought you said you were 4. Holy cow.
No, 9 seasons.
How many hours is
like,
that? I need some quick calculation.
Well, one of the seasons was short because it was during that writer's strike.
Yeah.
That they had years ago.
Still though.
But figure about 21 episodes, 40 minutes an episode.
Crunch these numbers.
Yeah.
840 minutes divided by 60 is 14 hours.
Well, so that would be per season times 9 seasons.
Times 9.
Which would be 90 to 126.
126 hours. That is like 1 hour less than the guy spent in the canyon and chewed his arm off.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's what I was
amazing.
thinking of.
He wouldn't have chewed his arm off if he had been able to watch Supernatural.
He didn't actually chew it off, but he did cut it. He should have done that instead, That sounds much more enjoyable.
Much more pleasant. But yeah, I will tell you, one of the big reasons why I love Supernatural is because I mentioned the self-referential stuff. There is a point, there's an episode called The French Mistake, where the characters, who are named Sam and Dean, get transported to an alternate reality where they take the place of actors named Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles, who are the actual actors who play those characters. And in this alternate reality, they are actors playing the characters of Sam and Dean on a TV show called Supernatural.
What?
There's an episode of the show about them going to a parallel world where they become the actors on their own show, like portraying the characters of themselves. And they have a scene at one point where they have to kind of keep up appearances that they're the actors and not, because they'd get locked up for being crazy if they said they were the actual characters. So they have to keep up appearances that they're these actors portraying the characters. So at one point you have Jared and Jensen playing Sam and Dean, playing Jared and Jensen playing Sam and Dean.
What? How do you do that as an actor?
I don't know, but it's absolutely fantastic. And some of the choices that they made for that scene are perfect because Jensen, he's got this very cool look that he does. He has a lot of the sort of blue steel kind of thing, but he pulls it off.
Not like blue steel.
He's being like, intimidating and whatnot.
Right.
But he was like, now how would, he said in an interview, he's like, for that scene I had to try and figure out, how would Dean try to look cool? And it comes off hysterical.
That's so confusing. I can't even follow that in my head.
I kind of understand it, but
it's so funny because at one point they think they've met up. There's an angel who's on the show as well that's pretty popular. He goes by the name of Castiel, or Cass for short. And they think that they found him. They think they found Cass and he's going to help them solve the problem of where they are. So they start talking to him as if, like they would normally talk to Cass. And he's responding mostly like you would expect Cass to respond. But we in the audience realize that, okay, this is not Cass. This is the meta Cass played by Misha Collins, who's the actor who plays Castiel, and he's kind of going along with them for a while. Yeah, and finally...
How do you pick up on that? I don't even...
It's so good. Finally, he realizes that, Meta Misha, realizes that, hey, you guys seem to be deviating from the script. What's, were there a rewrite? Did I miss something? And Dean grabs the guy's script from him and looks at it and he goes, Misha? What the heck kind of a name is Misha? And then towards the end of the scene, because his name is Jensen, right? Towards the end of the scene, he makes the comment, Jensen? Misha? What kind of names do people have in this universe? Wow. It is such a fantastic... And people have wondered online, they're like, what if somebody decides to give Supernatural a try, and by accident, the very first episode they hit upon is the French Mistake, and they get so confused?
I'm already confused just hearing about it. I've melted.
Yeah, they do some very, very funny, very meta things. There was one episode where they were forced to go through a whole bunch of, different types of TV shows. Like, they were in a sitcom, and then they were in, they were in an ad, for a, medicine that treated genital herpes. And Sam had to be the guy that's like, I'm Sam Winchester, and I have genital herpes. At one point they were in Knight Rider, and they drive this 67 Chevy Impala around, but when they were in Knight Rider, the Impala was, the car, and Sam was in the car speaking to Dean like he was actually, the car. So, I mean, it was absolutely hysterical. They have so much fun making that show. It's very, very entertaining.
So, okay. So, in the world of whatever you called it, Hercules, Dr. Hercules, whatever it was. What?
Yeah. Super
Hulock. Okay, how do they rank?
Oh, there's a question.
I feel like you don't have a choice but to put Doctor Who number one. I feel like anybody who watches Doctor Who has to put it number one and that kind of stuff.
I would have to say it's probably, it's what makes it difficult is it's a very apples to oranges kind of comparison.
Okay.
I think the reason that they're so popular as a trio is because they each bring something different to the table. You go to Doctor Who for the sci-fi fantasy stuff. You go to Supernatural for some of that kind of action, adventure, and the comedy, and another side to the fantasy element, and then you go to Sherlock for the intrigue and the, trying to, the whodunit kind of thing. So that they all bring something different to the party. So I don't know that I could actually rank them against each other. I think they're all... The Super Hulock is number one.
Poor answer.
It was an excellent, well thought out answer.
Yeah.
Hashtag fire snow.
You should be about a politician.
But yeah, I mean, is there anything that you guys... I mean, Supernatural has drawn us into binge watching Netflix quite a bit more than pretty much anything else. Doctor Who we did a decent amount of as well till we got caught up, but that was only 7 seasons and it was British TV show, so it was like 10 episodes a season basically, and then you were done. where Supernatural goes like 22, 23 most of the time. But is there anything that you guys have found on Netflix, a show that either you've seen it before or it's something that you're checking out new, and when you start it, you watch ridiculous amounts of it at a sitting?
I'll tell you my favorite show on Netflix, and I have not found a single person who either A, agrees with me, or B, okay, it may not be my favorite, it's close to my favorite, or B, is even willing to watch it, and that's Nip Tuck. It's like,
oh man,
it was like one of my first shows I ever got into on Netflix, and that was the one show I remember, like, this is what Netflix is. I just binge watched. There's 100 episodes of that, and I think they're all an hour long, not even 45 minutes. So,
wow. That was originally on USA, right?
I think it bounced around, if I remember right. I don't know.
I remember when it was
FX,
first being promoted, and I was like, this does not look like a show that would interest me. So.
Probably not. It's, I haven't found anybody that really likes it, but for some reason I got so addicted to it, like 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was. So good. But I will say...
The trend continues.
What was that?
The trend continues.
I know.
You still haven't found anybody.
Whatever. Maybe somebody on the listenership is into that kind of stuff. It's kind of gross at times, but it's... I want to say it was always on network TV, so it couldn't have been too graphic, but I'm not sure. Can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, as I recall, it's like a Grey's Anatomy sort of drama show, but it's about plastic surgeons.
It's better than Grey's Anatomy in that it's much more... It's written much better than Grey's Anatomy was. Like, I don't know. The commercials for Grey's Anatomy killed me because it's like, and now they had the plane crash. It's like, what the heck? They work in a hospital. How'd they have a plane crash? Like, why were they... I don't know. That show always confused me. Yeah. But no, I thought Nip Tuck was really good. What I've recently been watching, though, there's maybe binge watch 3 whole episodes of it on 2 separate days. Is, we talked about it last week. Oh my gosh, what's it called? The one with Doctor Who in it. Broadchurch.
Broadchurch, the one with Doctor Who in it.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm gonna slap you.
Slap me.
Because he is not named Doctor Who.
Well, if I remembered his name, I could have remembered the name of this show.
He is the Doctor.
Okay, sorry.
So
the one
just
with
be aware
of
that. But yeah, David Tennant.
David Tennant is in Broadchurch. Yeah. And if you're a fan of British mystery shows, that's a specific genre to be a fan of, first of all, and you must seek help. But second of all, you should watch Broadchurch if you haven't already seen it, which you probably have, because I'm assuming it's probably one of the best British mystery shows ever. The only problem is that my ear is not finely tuned to listen to British people. I listened to plenty of international people in my college days, being my professors from all kinds of different countries. Never a British professor, though. So I have to watch it with the captions on, the subtitles.
Yeah, so when they get going, sometimes it can be just as bad as trying to listen to something in Russian or,
I have no idea what David Tennant is saying half the time.
I found it weird. Well, first of all, I mean, in Broadchurch, does he speak with his actual Scottish accent? Or with a British accent?
It's Scottish. I mean, I don't know if he attempts for it to be British, but she calls him Scottish a couple of times.
Because what's one of my favorite memes for Doctor Who was they have a shot of the Doctor, David Tennant's Doctor, looking like he's trying to explain something, and underneath it says something along the lines of, so basically, I'm a Scotsman playing an alien, speaking with a British accent in a show made in Wales.
That's exactly what it is, except then you take that a step further and say, based in whatever the heck that place is based, talking about a boy's murder. And then you have Broadchurch.
Yeah. And what's even weirder is then you consider Grace Point, which is the U.S. version of Broadchurch, that also had David Tennant, but his character spoke with, an American accent, a real grizzled sort of cop sound to it.
From what I've heard, both the accent and the show were not as good.
Yeah, his accent the very first episode, his accent was not on at all. Like, you could tell that this was not the way that he normally talks. It improved rapidly after that, where I could, and part of it might have been that I'm used to hearing him talk a certain way. I'm used to hearing him both as the Doctor and, in interviews with his natural accent. So hearing him speak with this sort of American accent was took a little getting used to, but it improved over the course of the show. I'm a little sad that I didn't discover Broadchurch first, because I feel like Grace Point may have ruined me on Broadchurch, that I'm not going to bother checking it out.
You haven't seen it?
I didn't really enjoy Grace Point.
I don't know. I'm 3 episodes in, so let me draw sweeping conclusions. It's pretty good.
That is your right. Well, what
But-
about you, Drew? You were saying that there was a show or shows that you have binge-watched yourself. Do you want to give us any examples?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm always watching stuff on Hulu or Netflix or whatever, but usually when I binge watch something, it's gonna be like a half-hour show, more of like a sitcom type thing, because then because they're so short, I don't even realize how many of them I'll watch in a row. So right now I'm actually watching, I never watched Friends growing up, and they just put it on Netflix very recently. So I'm watching through that, and yeah, it's Friends.
I think you may be like,
Most
I
people
think the
have seen it.
majority of my friends are watching Friends right now, which is weird to say. But like, I had a conversation with a group of people the other day, and they were like, "Yeah, I'm on season 4, season 6, or whatever. I don't even know how many
Yeah, I'm on
seasons there
season
are."
4.
And then, yeah, I walk in the room yesterday. My fiance is watching like season 3. I was like, "Well, you too? Is it everybody?
At Tu Brute?
Did nobody watch it when it was like on?"
I think a lot of people are watching it. Like, I mean, there are people like me who never saw it and just heard about it and like knew it was really popular. I also think there are a lot of people who probably they watched it when it was on, and then it's been a while since. Well, I mean, I don't even really have TV, so I don't know if there's like constantly reruns playing somewhere. But
It's on Nickelodeon actually, on Nick at Night.
Yeah. So you're talking, the back web of the
Yeah.
of the cable world.
so it might just
Yeah.
be people who are like, oh, I wanna go back and kind of relive that, and because it hasn't really been available online because it ended in like 2004 or something, so it's been like 10 years
I feel
since
like
it was.
I feel like it stopped earlier than that.
I bet that's about right. Let me see. I bet
Really? I didn't think they were still making new episodes of Friends while I was in college.
May 6, 2004.
Oh, wow. All right. My bad.
Drew nailed it. It was on for
did.
10 years, almost.
Yep.
Huh. That is kind of crazy. All right. Yeah, I do think that there's a lot of the nostalgia factor there. What's weird is that when I saw it pop up on Netflix, I was like, oh, Friends. But like it's like I didn't enjoy it when it was initially on, but I did. There were episodes were amusing to me. I just for some reason looking back on it now, I feel like I don't know. It's part of a different era, and I think I would cringe a little bit watching it these days.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it stands the test of time. I can tell
Does
you.
it?
I mean, you may cringe a little bit, but if anything, it'll give you nostalgia, and it's not like I don't know. You see all these sitcoms nowadays that are terrible. Like, one of the ones that's going to be transcendent for us is probably Modern Family, because that show is just so good, at least to me. But, no, Friends is genuinely good comedy most of the time.
Okay. I know that one of the things that pops to mind when I think of Friends, there was a particular scene. Chandler had that ex-girlfriend that kept hounding him, and he kept sort of getting back together with for
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah,
Like Janice or whatever.
Yeah, that's her
Is
name.
that it?
Mhm.
And I remember there was one particular scene. I don't know why this one scene has stuck with me through the years, but there's one scene where he's like in an airport. I think he was seeing one of the other friends off to wherever they were going. And she pops up out of nowhere. And he's trying to come up with an excuse to like get away from her. And he's like, oh, I gotta go catch my flight. And she's like, oh yeah, where are you off to? And in desperation, he goes, Yemen?
Yeah, it's
And the way that he delivers that line, just the way he says Yemen, just cracked me up so bad the first time I saw it. It was just one of the funniest things. And so that has stuck with me through the years. I couldn't tell you any other scene probably from Friends, but that one, I could see it in my head right now.
it was actually they had like run into each other again, and because he always has trouble breaking up with her, he was gonna end it before anything even started up again. And so he said, like, we can't get back together because I'm going away for
Because I'm
work.
leaving the country.
And so, yeah, he said he's going to Yemen. And so he thought she would just go away. But then she's like, oh, well, then I want to spend all the time with you that I can. And so she's like with him right up to the gate. And he's like, you said you would go once I get on the plane. She's like, I want to actually see you take off. So he actually like goes on the plane and everything. And
Guess I'm going to Yemen.
yeah.
And that tells you how old that show is that you
Yeah.
managed to just do that.
Pre
Yeah,
9/11.
Yeah, you'd never be able to pull that off in a U.S. airport these days.
Yeah.
Nope.
My probably what I really like about the show is the fact, well, like I said, it's just half an hour long, so I can just watch right through it, but it's that's not even where I was going with that. I don't know why I said that.
Lost him. He's drifting.
No, now I remember.
He's in orbit.
What I really like is they sort of pre-planned that this would be a show that people would go on to like talk about for a while and stuff, because all of the episode titles are called The One with the Whatever. Like
I got a kick out of that naming.
And if you go back and you're like talking about it, you're like, oh yeah, it's the episode, the one with like something, and you're like, oh, I remember that, and it's
yeah. That's and you're. It's like you are accidentally completely accurate with your. It's like that's the episode title. You have it.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's pretty funny.
All right.
Oh man.
Well, I have no transition from Netflix to taxes, but
you have to pay taxes when you pay for Netflix. Maybe.
Netflix is 2 words sort of combined, and TurboTax is 2 words sort of combined. Yeah.
No.
Flawless victory. But yeah, it is tax time in the U.S. and I go in for a copy of TurboTax with a bunch of friends from work, because you get like 5 federal files with it, so you can sort of share a copy of the software, and we normally get TurboTax Deluxe Edition, and that's what we got this year. And then in looking at the features of the Deluxe Edition, they've screwed up. They've removed a bunch of federal forms from the Deluxe Edition. That like the software will not prompt you for that information. You cannot put that information into that version of the software. You need a higher edition of the software to be able to have access to those forms.
What?
And I think it's stuff having to do with certain investments, and if you're like an independent contractor type, that sort of thing. I think it's the stuff that's missing. So I haven't started my taxes yet, so I hadn't really been thinking about it until I got an email from TurboTax saying, we messed up and we apologize. Like, I think that was the actual subject line, and which I thought was very cool. And they said, we didn't do a good job of advertising the changes this year, and if you find that you needed to go to a higher version of TurboTax to file your taxes, this year as compared to last year because of the stuff that's missing from Deluxe, after you filed your taxes, go to this site, put in, your info, and we'll give you a $25 credit to offset the cost of the higher version of the software.
Wow.
Which
Good
I thought was
TurboTax.
really classy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was very cool. I haven't taken advantage of that yet because I haven't started my taxes. But you bet I will. 'Cause that's pretty awesome.
Even though you don't need it? Or
well,
do you
no,
need
I
it?
do need the next version up because I do have some stuff. I mean, I'm pretty sure I do. I have to actually look at last year's return and see if I used any of those forms that are missing before I do that. But I'm, without looking, I'm pretty sure that I did need at least one of the schedules, they call them.
Interesting.
For one purpose or the other. But I thought, this is, like, other companies take note. This is how you keep customers. This is the way you resolve problems with your customer base.
I never understand people that have bad customer service, or people that like Comcast or any of these stinking cable providers. Just figure it out. Just be nice to your customers, even if you have a monopoly on them. Being as lucrative as possible. I don't think it's worth it. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a bad experience with Cox 3 weeks ago that has still yet to be resolved.
Really?
Yeah. Ended with a $30 credit on my account. And they charged me $100 for coming out to my house in quote-unquote unbilled charges, which implies that at some point they're going to be billed.
Yeah, I was going to say, we are billing you $100 worth of unbillable charges.
Yes, $100 worth of a guy coming out to my house, not bringing the thing I explicitly had them write down on the case to bring. He was supposed to bring a tuning adapter, and yet he decided he didn't know what that was, and he brought an amplifier.
Amazing.
And his whole purpose was to come out and activate the cable card, which is what I said to be sure to include in the case. And he came, and he did not know what a cable card was, and I had to show him what a cable card was. And he left, and that is what they were charging me $100 for. You kidding me?
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a shame, because so many of those types of companies, they just subcontract out. They don't
Right.
have any of their own folks that go out, because then they'd have to maintain locations in all of these different places across the country where they provide service.
Right.
And so they just subcontract out to, more general folks that, they're like, hey, you, work on TVs and stuff.
I've gotten a lot.
To,
Yeah. I've gotten the contractors, I've gotten the the Cox technicians. I've had 4 people come out to my house so far, 3 of which did not get billed. But the one that did get billed was the one that the guy did not do anything.
It was the most useless person.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
it's
I'm
ridiculous.
still paying for all of my channels and getting like 4 of them.
You know, I think I may have told this story before, but one of my favorite stories that I've ever read out of one of Dave Barry's books. He wrote a book, Dave Barry Does Japan. And he went for like 3 weeks to Japan, and they were staying in a hotel, and they noticed that one of the faucets was dripping for like the bathtub or something, right? Yeah. And so he calls down, right, to the front desk, and he gets somebody that understands English for one thing. Like that's impressive right off the bat, because he's in a foreign country and he's not speaking their language, but they can help him, right? And he explains the situation. He's like, it's not a concern, it's just an FYI sort of thing. We noticed one of the faucets is dripping, right? He's like, 5 minutes later, 3 guys come to the room, knock on the door, right? He lets them in. 2 of them immediately set to work trying to get this faucet to stop dripping, while the 3rd guy just kept bowing and apologizing.
Wow.
Like, his entire purpose was just to say that they were sorry that the faucet was dripping.
Professional apologizer.
Exactly, and he's like, and like the luggage guy, the bellboy, doesn't pause to get a tip or whatever. He does his job and he leaves, and that's all there is to it. It's the service industry is completely different in Japan, and I really think that we could take a cue from them in that regard.
Yeah.
Just pay the folks that are in those positions better, so they don't have to rely on tips.
Well, you see it, like, the smaller the company, the better the customer service. You see, nowadays, a lot of these internet companies have fantastic customer service, which is really good. But it's mostly contained within the furniture industries and cable industries.
Yeah.
The ones that they just don't care. Drives me nuts.
It's pretty ridiculous. Yeah.
You know what else is ridiculous?
What's that?
Florida.
Florida is ridiculous. Just look at it on a map. That's a stupid-looking state.
Why is it sticking out? Like, stay within the lines of the United States, Florida. Weirdos.
Keep yourself to yourself, Florida.
Right. Why? Like, no other state.
Looking
like, maybe
indecent.
Maine, but that's like a whole region that kind of sticks out. Not just that one state.
It's hugging Canada. It's fine.
Maine is? Yeah. Okay, I thought you were saying Florida. I was like, okay.
My geography wasn't one of my better subjects in school.
I did come back just like 2 days ago from the sticky outy part of Florida, which was Miami. And let me tell you about Miami. The weather there is fantastic. I was sitting there watching CNN, watching all of you guys in your 5-degree temperatures or whatever you had, just sitting back on the beach, relaxing, about to drop my phone into the ocean from where I was sitting and laughing. And it was fantastic until I looked on my phone that I did not drop in the ocean and realized that back in my hometown, it was 75 degrees. It was colder the entire time I was in Florida, than it was in Oklahoma.
Wow.
Oh, that's pretty hysterical.
Are you kidding me? And then I get back, plane ride back, land, 40 degrees and raining. Gotta be joking me. I don't know how that happened. No, but Florida was pretty cool. Sticky outy. What is...
Yeah.
Oh, sticky outy.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Drew put sticky Audi, like AUDI, the car, in our agenda.
No idea what that meant for a second. Then I read it and I fully understood.
That was fantastic. Sticky Audi. Oh,
Well, that's
now I get it.
he said I was in the sticky outy, and
I was in the sticky outy. Actually, I didn't. We drove a Ford Focus, which I will not recommend to anybody ever renting a car. Like, we were in a sketchy part for a second. We had to make a pit stop, and one of the guys in my group of 3 people got out, and me and the other guy were in the car. The car does not have indicators for the door locks. There's nothing that tells you if the door is locked or not. And yet, whenever you look on the door where the door lock would be, there's no button to lock or unlock the door.
what?
You don't have to lock a Ford Focus. Nobody wants to get into a Ford Focus.
They looked like they did, and they were being scary, and we could not figure out how to lock the car in that exact moment, and it was pretty terrifying. As we were driving away an hour later, I find out that the door lock is in the center console.
Oh, that's
Makes
not
sense?
intuitive.
Yeah, whatever. Ford Focuses are dumb. No, Miami is pretty cool, though. Speaking of Audis, we saw, I think I saw 15 Ferraris in one day.
Wow.
Yeah, it's got to be, we were in Miami Beach and South Beach. Has to be the most Ferraris per capita at any place in the world.
That's where all that retirement pension money is going to.
Yeah.
Is buying, sunset year Ferraris.
Down there, you're either Cuban or old, pretty much. Or you're on the beach. And there's a combination
Or
of
you're
all
an
on the
old Cuban.
beach. Yeah. I will say, Little Havana, not worth it. If you ever feel like going to Little Havana, let me just discourage you. There's nothing there to see. Pretty
Okay,
terrible.
then.
So noted.
Yeah, that was my Miami vacation. Wasn't that exciting?
You were
That was
talking about
exciting.
Ferraris, and that made me think of. I was at work, and they had us filling out a list of like favorite things, and they had like favorite musical artist, favorite TV show, favorite color, all sorts of stuff like that. And I had no idea what the list was for, but when I think of list of favorites, one of the top things for me would be my favorite car. And so I actually wrote that on there as a separate thing, just for fun. I'm like, favorite car, Aston Martin V8 Vantage. And I found out later that list was to be kept as a log of like, if one of like the managers or whatever sees someone doing a good job, rather than just what they do now, which is just like verbally thank them, they could look at that list and get an idea of like, oh, I could get something like this for them. And I felt really dumb when I was like, why don't they have cars on here? Now I know why. So
That is fantastic. That you took
Nicely
the time
done, Drew.
To write that in. Oh man, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall whenever he was reading over it. Yeah, like that's gonna happen.
That's good. Well, speaking of cars, nice segue, hat tip to Slash there.
I help out where I can.
We came back and had a big party for our engagement, which was fun. But during that party, I learned two things. I guess we'll start off with the not speaking of cars one first. I learned how to eat a cupcake. Do you guys know how to eat a cupcake?
My wife would assert that the proper way to eat a cupcake is to just eat the top off of it.
That's and by all means completely incorrect.
Fire away then. Let's hear it.
Drew, do you have an idea?
well, for me, it would be not to eat it because I don't like icing, so I don't eat cake or cupcakes or anything with icing.
Now, the proper way to eat a cupcake does stem from that exact icing phobia that you have. It is,
Okay.
you take, okay, so think of a cupcake, right? You've got the cake, you got the icing.
Uh-huh. I'm
You
with
take-
you so far.
Good. Stay with me here. You take the bottom half of the cake, rip it from the top half of the cake, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then you have much less cake with the same amount of icing. Take the bottom half of the cake, turn it over, and make an icing sandwich with the cupcake. And that is how to properly eat a cupcake. It was demonstrated to me, and I tried it. Indeed, it is the proper way to eat a cupcake. So next time you are at your favorite party, your 2-year-old's birthday party, your grandma's retirement party, whatever it is, eat a cupcake like that, and all of your friends will be impressed.
How
How
to win friends and influence people.
how do you rip the cupcake from like the top half off from the bottom half without covering your hand in
that
icing?
I've got.
It's
No,
much
that I've
easier.
got. You claw your fingers around the top, right?
Yes.
And then interpose them with a claw underneath, and then you
Right.
twist in opposite directions, and it just rips in half.
The twist is not necessary, but it is a nice flair you can add if there's some people you're trying to impress with this.
I'm
Well, I thought that was
picture-
the whole point, was impressing people.
Right, that's part of it, but I mean, if there's somebody you really want to make sure that they think you look good, then you can add the little twist into it.
I'm just picturing that, and like my family will tell you, like I had a whole period of time where like I would accidentally get butter like all over myself, like I was putting butter on a roll, and it would like somehow end up like on my
What?
nose or my elbow. I have no idea. I can tell you, I would get icing all over if I tried to do that.
Drew has
Like,
poor butter
is this
knife
within the
control
last like
skills.
5 years that you got butter all over yourself?
I don't remember. It was like when I was 13 or 14, so longer ago than 5
That's
years.
still pretty bad.
So like 7 years. Yeah, okay.
A 14-year-old just got butter all over his face.
That's
It wasn't
impressive.
all
Well,
over,
you know
but
what?
it was like I would it just happened a lot of times, and it was weird.
I will share the following embarrassing story so that Drew is not the only one sharing that he gets foodstuffs all over himself. When I was in college, just I believe my wife and I were dating at the time. I don't think this was before we started dating. But she had a recital, and we all went out to eat afterwards to this buffet. And it was the first time that my parents had come out to see the recital. We must have been dating, because my parents wouldn't have come out to see her recital if we weren't dating. But my parents had come out to see her recital, and her family was all out. And so it was, the first time both families had really gotten together. I still don't really know my in-laws to be, years in the future. I don't really know them all that well yet at this point. And so I'm trying to be cool. I'm trying to make a good impression, whatnot. First trip to the buffet, I picked myself up a salad with ranch dressing. And of course, I'm dressed myself nice for the recital, and I sit down to have my salad, and my necktie goes right in the salad and gets ranch dressing all over it. Right? And I'm like, oh man. So I pull it out, and I'm cleaning it off. I got the whole like napkin in the water glass thing to try and get the dressing off of there. And it's like, oh, okay, fine, that's over with. Whatever. Move on. Finish my salad. I go up. They had spaghetti with meat sauce. Wouldn't you know? No. I get my tie in the meat sauce.
The tie again?
Yes, during the same meal, I got my tie in not one but two different dishes.
See, there's where we differ. First of all, I wouldn't have worn a tie. I have a natural aversion to ties. But second of all, when the tie goes in the ranch, you abandon the tie. That is God telling you that you should not have worn a tie that day, and you need to take it off and throw it away. Or just make it sit in the ranch for the rest of the time.
As punishment?
Yes.
You sit in that salad and you think about what you've done.
And I will not eat it. Yes.
Oh, man.
No, ties are not something to be messed with. I've learned that as well. But different story for a different day, I guess. And back to repair the rainbow road that Slash drew between segues. What was that?
I said, so speaking of cars.
Speaking of cars, I tried to re-segue by repairing the rainbow road that Slash gave me.
Yeah.
But at that same party, I relearned how much fun Mario Kart is. So, as I told you guys, we got a Wii U for Christmas, and the two games I actually bought for it were Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros. So, at this party, we ended up, you have the people that come over just to say hi and hang out for a little bit, and then once you weed those people out, then you can really start having some fun with the people that want to stay at the party. So that's what we did. We ended up with 4 guys and 4 girls, and I think it all was just like a natural consensus. Everybody saw the Wii, and it was just like, okay, Mario Kart time. Yep. So first thing is we have it's I think it's only 4-player game, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
Super Smash Bros is 8, but Mario Kart's 4. So the guys get up, and it's like we've all played. This was all our game growing up. Like Mario Kart 64 was just like equal to breathing for us, an innate behavior. So Mario Kart Wii U, we were all ready for it. And it was just like the bloodiest bloodbath of anything you've ever seen. People just getting up and screaming and yelling and like red shells going everywhere. And I think we all ended up in like 8th, 9th, and 10th or whatever for the first 3 races because we just kept killing each other. It's fantastic. But the real fun came whenever it was actually, I think, all of our significant others, maybe one team was not a couple. We handed the controllers off to the women, and they all took the hot seat. It was funny because we had like chairs set up like an amphitheater around the TV, and then a second row of chairs for the coaches.
Oh man!
And so the girls are up there, and they're all like freaking out about how to drive, and we're watching their characters. And one of my friends, just this classic moment where she's using the Wii as or the Wiimote as a steering wheel, and she's overcorrecting into the wall. And I kid you not, maybe 6 times, just left wall to right wall to left wall to right wall, and everybody is cracking up. And it was like, I don't know, it was the most amazing tournament. But I thought about that so as to say, I wanted to know, I don't think we've talked about what your guys' favorite multiplayer games are. Like, I think Mario Kart would probably have to be up there. I really like Mario Party, but it destroys friendships. And Mario Kart's a little more transient than that.
More so than the blue shell?
The blue shell is pretty... The blue shell in the Wii U version has been slightly nerfed. The Wii version was pretty bad, and the... Was it? For some reason, I don't remember it in the 64 version.
It was in the 64, right? Yeah. I mean, I generally wasn't far enough behind that the item selectors would give it to me, but...
right.
But yeah, it was in the game.
No,
Humble brag.
you get it. It's much more rare in the Wii U version, and not to mention that whenever somebody shoots it, it acts like a red shell for every consecutive player, so it has the possibility of hitting everybody and then blowing up on the first place person.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. You can dodge it a lot easier than you can dodge a red shell, but yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, my favorite multiplayer... I don't do a whole lot of multiplayer console gaming because I don't do a whole lot of console gaming in general. I was a real big fan of Rock Band when it was a first thing, because I played some Guitar Hero when it first came out, and then Rock Band came out, and when I transitioned to that, I was really enjoying that because I loved being the drums in a Rock Band game.
Yes,
that
was my thing too. That's a great answer.
Yeah, so I'm gonna probably go with that. I also enjoyed sort of some of the fighting games, like when Drew and I got together and played that
PS All Stars.
Yeah, All Star Battle Royale. That was a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
I'll say for Rock Band that I once spent from 7 p.m. until 3 a.m. beating the entire game of Rock Band with a couple of my friends. The funniest part about that was that our singer lost his voice for a week after that.
That's pretty awesome.
Sang every single song in the set list of Rock Band.
Wow.
And he was
That's
at school
dedication.
all next week without being able to talk. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, Rock Band has definitely been a favorite for me and some of my friends, but we haven't played it in a while. But no, the big ones for me, well, Super Smash Bros. Melee would definitely be just my favorite overall. But for probably the one I've done the most of for like LAN parties and stuff, so many games of Halo 2 and Halo 3.
Yeah.
Especially Halo 3, there were so many options
on the console?
Yeah. There were so many options for customizing game types and stuff. So we had all sorts of crazy game types that it made it feel like it wasn't even a first-person shooter anymore, almost.
Yeah, at my age, Halo 2 kind of defined what a LAN party was.
Yeah.
Tons of fun.
The only LAN party stuff I ever did was there was a Linux users group that got together on a semi-regular basis for a while and played till the wee hours of the morning. And I think the only game we ever played... Well, we played a little bit of... what was it? It was originally just a mod. It's the World War II setting, and it was a mod using for Unreal Tournament, I think.
Huh.
I can't think.
I've
of what
not
the heck
seen
it's
that ever.
called now.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then eventually it became its own game, and it's bugging me that I can't remember what it's called. But we played a lot of Unreal Tournament. One of those versions, 2K something, and then there was this other one. It was like, oh man, that is gonna bug me. I'm gonna go completely nuts. I'll pull a SnoShoe and shout it out in the middle of something irrelevant later.
That'd be a good idea.
But that was pretty much what we concentrated on there, and those are the only FPSs that I even have remotely gotten decent at. Like I elevated myself to mediocre at those games as opposed to absolutely abysmal in any other FPS that I've played since.
Now, I want to say, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's a new Unreal Tournament actually coming out soon.
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure there is.
I don't know either.
Let's see. There's some stories about it as of August 2014. So yeah, I don't know if it's actually come out yet or not. I don't know. Anyway.
Okay.
Red Orchestra.
In case you're interested.
Well,
It was called Red Orchestra. I found
Red
it.
Orchestra. I thought you were telling us to be an orchestra for some reason. I was very confused.
I read an orchestra, guys. But yeah, it was called Red Orchestra, and eventually it became its own game, I'm pretty sure. But it was an Unreal Tournament 2K4 mod.
Oh.
So yeah,
Is that a game
we're going
that's-
back a ways.
Has that been continued in development? Or I guess I don't know. I need to check that out, because I did not even know that there were multiple versions of it.
Of Unreal Tournament?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's still a thing. I only ever played the one rendition of it.
Okay.
well, speaking of like party games and multiplayer games, I just saw this. Actually, I just saw it today. Someone had posted something on the Buffalo Wizards subreddit, and I was very confused as to what it had to do with the Buffalo Wizards. But I looked through the comments, and apparently it was something that CoStar streamed with some of the other guys, Pause, Rob, and Justin. And And I'm gonna post the link to the game itself in Skype. But so what this is someone made this for the Tabletop Simulator game on Steam. And so it's just like, this is essentially a board game that you just load up and you can play online. It really makes no sense. But it's, unfortunately I can't really link the video because it was just like a Twitch VOD and it was like 3 hours long and they only played it for like half an hour or something in there. But, yeah, it's just, it's called...
What the heck is this?
So it's called Dog. That's the name of it. And there are several pictures of dogs on the board, which there's nothing other than those images. The game has nothing to do with dogs. It's very, very random. Like some of the spaces that you can land on, some of them are blank. And then there's some pink ones that just say random things that don't actually mean anything. So like
sometimes or pretty good.
Sometimes I eat cheese is one, yes. But there are two sections. There's one that they called the Gauntlet, which it starts with.
Oh gosh!
It starts with, if anyone rolls a 1, go forward 1 space. The next space is, if anyone rolls a 3, go back 3 spaces, or everyone goes back 3 spaces. But then if you get past that, there's go forward 2 spaces, which that'll put you onto, when you roll to move, go back that many spaces. So you could then land on one of those ones from before. If you get past that, there's go forward 2 spaces, which then puts you on a go back 5 spaces. Which,
good heavens. I like go back 2 spaces if it tickles your fancy.
Yes.
Never tickles my fancy.
What's great? There's another one. This is actually the only way you can lose, like get put out of the game. Towards the end of the board is roll a die. If you roll an even number, you lose.
You lose.
And then there's the final section. You have to roll either a 5 or a 6 to get to it, because it's go forward 2 spaces, and then if you go forward 2 spaces, go back 1 space, then another go forward 2 spaces, and then a go back 4 spaces, which puts you right before the beginning of that whole thing. So it just keeps kicking you back. And it's
my favorite on the board has to be roll 3 times. If you roll 3 6s, everyone else moves back 18 spaces. Praise Satan. What?
Yeah, well, and that's also the only like evil red spot. Like all the rest are like nice bright colors, and then
Pastel
that's just
colors.
like dark red.
Praise Satan in all caps.
Wow. Yeah, this everything about this makes sense given who it originates from.
Yes. I may have to go watch that just to see it.
Yeah, I can tell you, if
funny.
you do, I mean, I guess we could link the VOD. It's around like the 80-minute mark, or
That's close enough.
hour
I'm
and a
sure I'll
half.
find it.
So
Oh my gosh. The description, meow moo, is the first thing that's in the description.
That's all it said. Meow moo.
There's other stuff, but I mean, that's all you need.
yeah,
Only play this, James, if you are of a dog ancestor. Woof.
Woof. Oh man, that's absolutely amazing. I love completely goofy games like that.
I wonder if that person's made any money on that. Like, it is exactly 6 kilobytes to download.
Yeah. But yeah, there's so many things that are like, if you're sitting on this space and then someone rolls a 5, everyone has to go back 5 spaces or whatever. It just progressively gets harder to win the game.
It's like what's the name of the guy from Myth that like had to keep pushing the boulder uphill and he'd make it halfway and then it would break it loose and roll downhill and he had to start over. This is like a board game version of that.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yep.
Okay. Well, speaking of boulders,
Made of mossy cobblestone, perhaps.
I was gonna go with Stonehenge, which is near. I don't really ever remember where Stonehenge is. It's somewhere in the UK.
It's over there somewhere.
Yeah, and the UK is also home to London, which has been officially announced as the location of Minecon 2015, which will be occurring on the date of. Are you ready?
I barely.
July 4th and July 5th.
Man.
They had to have done that on purpose, right?
That sounds pretty hilarious.
Like, are they attempting to make it to where Americans are not gonna want to go?
I don't know. Or is it like so that when Americans do go, they can go ha in your face?
Right. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would really like to go, and I had plans to go prior to getting engaged, but I don't think my job is going to take too kindly to me taking like 4 vacations this year. So I don't know if I'm going to make it. But I just found that like even if I wanted to go, I already have plans for July 4th that I would have to break, which wouldn't be a huge deal, but how many people really had plans to go, but also really had plans for July 4th that are American?
It does seem like they really like scheduling them around American holidays, because they had the one that was like over Thanksgiving, basically, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Minecon itself has not really appealed to me. Some of the stuff that surround Minecon seemed pretty cool, like when Minecraft had their own little separate meetup thing. That seemed cool, and that's something I would attend, but I wouldn't necessarily do Minecon itself.
Same.
That's how I did it.
Yeah. So... and I certainly wouldn't travel abroad for it. I mean, that's an awful lot of money spent.
Right. I just want to go to London anyway, but I don't necessarily want to pay for July 4th plane tickets. Not gonna lie. That sounds like it's gonna be much more expensive for me to get up to New York so I can cross the pond.
Yeah.
As it were.
Yeah, I'm perfectly content just checking the news and pictures that come out of the event. That's all. I don't even know. Like, it's going to be... This is the first Minecon since Microsoft bought them,
right? That's so what's going to be the barometer.
It could be interesting to see what comes out of that.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, is it gonna...
Like?
It's probably not going to be worth a trip to London, really. Like, if you're not going just to meet up with friends or whatever, like, you're actually going for the convention, I can't imagine that it's going to be... I don't know. This is your best chance for it, too, because Microsoft probably wants to kind of show off if they can, but...
Possibly.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. I was leaving that open for Drew comment, but I don't think there is a Drew comment, so we will move ahead to the questions section. Are you guys ready?
No.
What is it,
But
Drew?
go ahead anyway.
Well, get ready.
I'm doing my absolute very best.
It doesn't sound like it. Like, what is holding you back from being ready from this question section?
I'm just being difficult.
Okay. That's
My
rude.
loins are girded.
Question letter A from A Million Monkeys. He says, part 1. Okay.
Of 1.
Part one of 1. Part I of I, if you will. Hey guys, if you could make... I almost read that correctly. If you could recast any movie, what movie would you choose and how would you change it? I thought it said if you could remake any racist movie, but that is not what it says. Not sure why my brain did that.
Wow, that's impressive.
Remake or recast.
What
would it be? I think I know my answer, and I think it's going to be Ben-Hur. I don't know if it has been redone, has it?
I don't think so, no. Now that you say that, that's like the one movie they haven't rebooted.
Right? I feel like it should. Like, Chariots of Fire. Yeah.
Yeah, that I actually quite like that answer. That's good.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Who would you cast in it?
I don't know. Denzel Washington. I have no idea. Let's see. Who would I mean, Charlton Heston is the original, right?
Right.
I feel like it needs, like, Matt Damon.
Yeah. It would be someone in that sort of caliber.
Yeah, it just looks super intimidating. Matt Damon, when he's hulked out, looks pretty intimidating, and he's a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
There you go. I don't know why I thought of that, but that's my answer.
There you go. Well, hey, that works. That's better than what I've come up with, which is, I can't... See, the thing is, like, there's not a whole lot of movies that I watch, for one thing. I don't consume... I consume a less than average number of movies compared to, I think, the typical American, at least. So, yeah, they're going to kick me out.
No, they're remaking Ben-Hur in 2016.
Oh, snap!
What?
Does it say who is playing people yet? Or
the director is Timur Bekmambetov, and the stars are Morgan Freeman. I was so close with Denzel Washington.
Wow, that is hysterical.
Oh wow, Tony Kebbell.
Man.
I don't know who that is. Anyway,
I'm just giving up. Like, there's no way that I can like provide any kind of answer to this question that's going to be anywhere near as entertaining as what just happened.
I don't think I knew that. Like, that's weird.
It was deep in your subconscious if you did know. You probably hadn't heard about it. I hadn't. It's not exactly like front page news when they start remaking Ben-Hur.
Maybe me and Timur Bekmambetov share some kind of weird brain link.
Brain cell.
One brain cell is shared. It's crazy how that works.
Well, what about you, Drew? Is there anything... I literally could not come up with anything at all. Is there anything that popped in your mind?
I was trying just to be a good sport, but my brother and I already had this conversation, and the reason he asked this question is because we were comparing some remakes, and I was complaining that the new one... we're specifically talking about Footloose, and while neither one is particularly amazing, I was saying the first one was far superior to the remake, and he was saying it was the other way around. And
that's normally not the case.
Yeah.
So he asked this question, and I choose not to answer. But no, I tried, and I really couldn't think of anything in the last few minutes. So.
All right, well, you guys have officially heard Drew and Matt's resignation from the podcast, and I will be your host and one and only host forever now.
Have fun editing!
Oh, no, never mind. Welcome back, guys.
Take it all back.
At least my Keep Snow 2015 campaign worked. You guys you should be happy you kept me, or else you would not have gotten an answer to that question.
This is true. Yeah, that would have been awkward.
All right, moving on. Question letter B from Six Gun Joe. He asks about our podcasts for some reason. He asked, okay, now we have to be careful here. What did we do for the Superb Owl?
The Superb Owl, indeed.
Or the soup bowl, as I call it on Facebook.
The soup bowl.
Soup bowl.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Well,
this one is pretty easy.
Yeah. Let me think. What did I do?
It was last night, 24 hours ago. What were you doing?
We stayed home this year. We were invited to a friend's house who has he actually has he has a legit man cave, right? In his basement, he's got a great home theater set up and everything. And the effective screen, because it's a projector, but the effective screen area is it's 110 inches, I think,
Holy
diagonal,
cow.
right? Which I think, according to NFL licensing, which is a bunch of BS anyway, but according to NFL licensing, I don't think he's allowed to view the Superb Owl on that big of a screen without paying some sort of party hosting fee or something.
What?
Even if he's just doing it by himself?
Yeah, I think so. Even if it's just private viewing, there's some.
That's awesome.
There is. They try. I mean, nobody's I think ever enforced it, but I think somewhere in their terms, quote unquote, it's there's a maximum size for private viewing, and if you go bigger than that, then you're having an official party, and so you have to license the rights from the NFL. To
wow.
do that.
So what's the size of that screen? I mean, we've got a 55-inch TV.
Well, I have friends who have a projector.
I feel like quite a few people could watch
they use
that.
A projector for that.
Yeah, I think it's 70 something is the max. Last time I looked at it, I haven't looked in a while.
Wow.
But I know that his is larger than that, which I just find that absolutely hysterical. But no, we ended up staying home because the weather forecast was very bad, wintry mix and stuff. It ended up not being as bad as they had called for, but I didn't want to be on the roads late to try and get home from there because it's about a 45-minute drive. So we ended up staying home. We had my favorite snacks. I love snack day. In the house. My wife made buffalo chicken dip, and it's, I don't know what you would call it, I guess a shrimp dip, but it's one of my favorite things ever, and I think I may have mentioned this before, but it's the simplest thing. You take a block of cream cheese, you pour some cocktail sauce, and put some baby shrimp on it, and you eat it with tortilla chips. It's absolutely fantastic.
So the dip is made with shrimp, it's not made for shrimp.
It's not made for shrimp. You get the little mini shrimps. There's the real tiny ones. They're already cooked. You just thaw them out.
The
you pour
especially
them on,
shrimpy
you
shrimp.
eat them with chips. Yes, very shrimp.
Shrimp.
You get very shrimp. That's what you get.
Shrimp is a verb.
We just stayed home and watched it. What about you guys?
Well, I actually went to Six Gun Joe's house to watch it. And so he already knows what I did, but I'll tell you guys.
Thanks for
So
sharing.
we watched the game while playing a combination of Space Munchkin and Munchkin Booty, which is the pirate one.
Nice.
Munchkin
It's
Booty?
the pirate one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then afterwards, we wanted to watch the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. They were doing it like from the whatever.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, sorry. The Super Bowl. But it wasn't directly afterwards. First was the new episode of The Blacklist, which I am not caught up on. And so we wanted to, well, I didn't want to watch that, and none of them watched the show anyway. So we watched the Footloose riff tracks. And then they just DVR'd the Tonight Show because it was like,
It was going to come on too soon.
yeah, it was going to come on too soon before the movie was over.
Footloose.
So
Yeah.
then we watched that. So I didn't get home till like 1:30, but
Sounds like a fun time, though.
yep,
Riff Tracks is awesome.
Yes.
We've talked about that before, and I love those guys.
yes.
What about you, Snow?
Well, I actually sat down, went to my parents' house, but sat down and actually viewed the whole
You
the
said
entire
it.
way through. For
Hashtag Fire Snow.
Oh no! Hashtag keep him.
Slash, you need to
Hashtag
remember to
forgive
go
Snow
through
2015.
and beep out every time we say the.
I will.
You can
I'm
either
gonna,
beep
I'm
it
gonna
or
try
just-
to come up with even crazier ways of censoring this
That'd be
time
good.
around.
No, I watched it all the way through this time, which doesn't normally happen. Like normally I will go somewhere and then I'll miss like a quarter of it or something, except for whenever the Ravens play. If the Ravens are in it, I'll watch the whole thing. But this was like that was the most entertaining game at the end of the season that I have ever seen, I think.
It came
was-
right down to the wire. It was
Great. You know, like
Very
last year, you had the Seahawks just completely obliterate the Broncos, and
They
nobody
really
cared
did.
about it at even halftime. I think it was over.
Yep.
But this game, it was like, you know, it was back and forth. It looked like the Patriots were going to take it and kind of go on a run, but then the Seahawks come back, and it's tied at halftime, and then the Seahawks take the lead right after halftime. The Patriots are up by 4, which was the eventual final score, 28-24. The Seahawks are driving down the field, trying to win the game. They make a miraculous throw that somehow gets bounced around and bobbled around. The guy catches it on like the 5-yard line.
Yeah.
I don't know how in the world he caught that.
That was amazing.
And all they have to do is take the best running back in the league, debatably, one of the best running backs in the league, 5 yards. They take him, let him run the ball one time. He runs it 4 yards to the 1-yard line. And then they decide, let's throw the ball. There's 20 seconds left on the clock. It's second down and a half a yard. We're about to win the Super Bowl. Let's throw it. You know, what's the worst that could happen? Well, yeah.
Then we found out.
There was an
Yeah.
interception, and the Patriots ended up... And then, not to mention, right after that, the Patriots have the ball at the end of a football game, I don't know how many of our listenership are football fans, but at the end of a football game, pretty much all you can do, if you are winning the game and you have the ball, you can let the clock run out by taking a knee, which is basically just, you know, you take a negative yardage on the play, and the clock runs out and you win the game. Well, they were so far back because when they made the interception, they were... the Seahawks were about to score. They were so far back that they couldn't really take a knee, and it was about to get tricky. And then the Seahawks get a penalty in the most crucial part of the game, and basically end the game for themselves. It was the biggest implosion
Yeah.
I've ever
Yeah.
seen.
It was really the drama in the last 20 seconds of that football game was amazing. Between the stupid play call and then jumping off sides and then when he does take a knee and the scrum that breaks out, they're just
Fight
like
breaks out.
Yeah,
Fist fight. Guy
beating each other.
gets ejected.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
Highly
insane.
entertaining.
Yeah, I was going to say
Yeah.
the hockey game was my favorite part of that football game.
I like the halftime show, but well, that's just me.
I actually, on that note, halftime shows have generally not been entertaining for me in recent memory. I actually rather enjoyed this one. It was just enough entertaining. Like there was the crazy surreal elements, but you had to expect that because it was Katy Perry, you know.
Right.
And I loved some of the hilarious comments. It was like, she's coming in on Voltron.
I thought it was a combination of a Swarovski Jaguar and the the thing that Aladdin walks in the mouth of at the end of that movie.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, man. I mean, that whole show was... And the amount of memes that have come out of those, like, shark backup singers.
Stinking dancing sharks.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's a halftime show that's going to keep on giving.
I've never seen a halftime show that I actually enjoyed, but that one was fun to laugh at.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Now, okay, I will say, for as good as the halftime show is, this will lead into our next question, which is, what was your favorite commercial from this year's Superb Owl?
Mm-hmm.
As good as the halftime show was, I think, on the whole, the commercials were awful. And by awful, I mean awfully depressing.
There were
a lot of tearjerker type commercials. Yeah.
It was like, hey, will you play with me? Oh wait, you can't because I'm dead. What? Oh my gosh, when did the child die in this commercial? Yeah. Is that allowed?
Thankfully, I missed that one.
Yeah, it's like Nationwide is on your side. No, they're not. They just killed the guy in the middle of the commercial. What the heck?
So,
I think my favorite... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, something I discovered last year, it seems to me that half of the ads that are produced for you don't even see during the... Like, I'll look it up online afterwards, and it's like, these are all... So I'm like, I didn't see this one, 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 and this one.
Yeah. It's like, and I was in front of my TV the whole time. Where the heck were these ads? I agree with you. It's really odd.
I think it's our nature because, like, even though I want to watch all of the commercials, I'll catch myself right when the game is going to break. I'm standing up and turning around like, wait a minute, I want to watch those. So
no, it's not even that. I'm pretty sure that there are some commercials that just don't get national air.
You don't think
during
so?
the game. I think they get regional air, and so if you're not in the right region, you don't see them.
Yeah, we had a Farmers Only commercial in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
Never have to be lonely with FarmersOnly.com, ladies and gentlemen. Sponsoring this podcast episode.
That's a weird motto, and I'm going to move on from this as quickly as possible.
Do you guys not get those commercials?
No, I've never. That sounds very regional. I don't think we even have anything like that.
It's a Farmers Only dating site.
I've never seen that advertised ever.
I don't know. It's really bad. It's on ESPN late at night. It's very strange.
Well,
that's pretty hysterical.
I have an answer to the question.
Go ahead. Surprisingly, I'm color me
surprised. So my favorite Superb Owl.
You know how many times Slash is gonna have to bleep it out? Like I was listening to you guys. It was just bang, 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 bang.
You're guilty too.
The post-production is insane.
So anyway, my favorite commercial would be the Liam Neeson Clash of Clans ad.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty fantastic. Yeah, it's just Liam.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
It's Liam. And then the dramatic music cuts back in. I mean that was pretty fantastic.
I think don't mess with Neeson boy. 56.
No, it was Angry Neeson.
Angry Neeson.
Yeah, that one was pretty well done. I rather like that one.
I think my favorite, I don't know why it cracked me up so much, but I don't even remember what the commercial was for, which is usually the case. The first draft ever, which was like, it was God drafting where the different animals were going to go. And so he's like, kangaroo, you go to Australia, and then in Mexico with the final pick of the draft. And they pan over, and there's this polar bear with his sombrero on, like, come on. They chose the avocado. It was an avocado.
Yeah, it was some sort. I thought it was some sort of like salsa with avocado in it, but yeah.
No, I think it was like actual. They have commercials for avocados. It's weird.
That's pretty funny.
Just the unexpected polar bear with the sombrero.
That was pretty good.
Cracked me up so much.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm torn between two for my favorite. I really enjoy Mindy Kaling's work. So the Invisible Girl,
that was
commercial with Matt Damon. I thought was absolutely hysterical because I love when he participates in comedic stuff because he plays that sort of like you're creeping me out, vibe. He does that very well,
right?
So I thought that was pretty hilariously done. But I also really enjoyed the car commercial. I think might have been for Lexus. With Pierce Brosnan.
Oh yes.
Whereas the guy's presenting it, and Pierce keeps jumping in like he thinks it's like a Bond style movie, and the guy's like, so you're behind the wheel of the car and you're driving through a wintry landscape. And he's like, what am I doing? Like 75, 80 miles an hour?
He says like, 200.
No, 30. And then they cut back, and he's like, slowing down. You pull up to a cabin, and then it explodes, and it's like, boom, and then it freezes. Like, no, it's just a cabin. And
my favorite part, when he's like, you look off to the side and see, he's like, a sniper? He's like, no, an owl.
An owl. Yeah. And then at the end,
I didn't see it.
And then the part of it at the end of it when he says, he's hearing all this and it's just been disappointment after disappointment as he's been hearing about this. And then he goes, "Do I keep the car?" And they're like, "Yeah, you can keep the car." And he's like, "I'm in." Sounds good.
See, I like those. At least are relevant to the commercial company. Half of the commercials last night were not relevant. I don't know why. They keep getting more and more irrelevant. Like, also, what was the deal with all of the commercials catering to dads? Like, it makes sense because there's a lot of dads watching the Super Owl. But I don't know if it was the child abuse scandal in the NFL or what, but there were like 4 commercials that were like, "Here's to you, Dad," or I don't know. That was weird.
And I automatically tuned out all of those. Like, whenever these sort of like sappy, when I tuned that out, was it Charlton Heston?
What?
Or a couple of years ago, there was a car commercial, and I don't think it was Charlton Heston.
A couple years ago, he was not alive, I don't think.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, that's not right. I forget who the guy was that was doing it, but he was a real tough, gruff kind of guy.
Tell us about the.
And it was the one that was like, America, cars in America.
Oh, it was.
He was like, who the heck was that?
Dirty Harry. I can't think of the actor.
Clint Eastwood.
Yes.
Clint Eastwood. That's why I was thinking Charlton Heston. Clint Eastwood. They dovetail in my head quite a bit.
Birds of a feather, they are.
Yeah. But yeah, that, oh my gosh. I think that commercial ruined. Anytime a commercial comes on, it seems to have that kind of tone. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll wait for the funny Doritos commercial.
Exactly.
And move on from there.
Yeah, the Doritos commercial was decent this year about the lady getting on the plane and he sees this lady. He tries to attract her with Doritos and it turns out she has a kid. And he's like,
yeah, that was pretty good. All the different ways that he was like making people move on.
Right.
Yeah, the one thing, before we move on, I just wanted to mention one last thing. I noticed it, but then Kurt actually tweeted about it, was one of the Lexus commercials. At the end, it just says, above the Lexus slogan, it just says, "Let's play." And
what?
And apparently that's their like motto or whatever. But Kurt said, I can think of an incredibly appropriate sponsorship tie-in with that. And I just shouted.
They have to have trademarked that then.
Yeah, I just shouted "Let's play" like Ray from Achievement Hunter, but
that's pretty funny.
Interesting. That I'm sure there's some kind of copyright infringement on somebody's part. Now that
you can't copyright a phrase.
If it's a tagline, you can, right?
No, it's a trademark. That's
you can trademark.
Okay,
you can't.
Yeah, there's a whole separate thing there.
Okay,
but
good. All right, time for question letter C, subpart I, which is the I of I, if you will. Sarah JMCB says, if you could choose any 3 Disney characters to be on a fire team with you, who would they be?
Specifically says animated, but...
Animated. Did I say that?
No.
Maybe not.
No, you skipped the word animated. Because you were too busy being in a Disney musical while you were asking the question.
I was.
So, by fire team, are we talking about like a team of firefighters, or are we talking about like SEAL Team 6 kind of thing?
I can clarify. Because she was asking me, she's like, would this be the right word? She was thinking like in a video game, like in Destiny, it's called a fire team, and it's like a team of like 3 to 6 people or whatever that you like go into the mission with. So like a squad kind of thing. But I said...
So basically your Kingdom Hearts All-Stars.
Sure.
Yeah.
So she was thinking of a video game, but I said, I'm like, fire team could also be thought of just as a military unit. She's like, that works too. So...
Yeah, I'm going to make the assumption, because based on that, I was thinking, in real life, as opposed to as part of a video game. One for sure would be the genie from Aladdin. Because that's, granted, by the end of the first movie, he's only semi-phenomenal, nearly cosmic, but he's still a pretty good asset to have on your team.
What if but you can't wish for more wishes. That's not allowed.
Yeah, but he can still use his powers. He doesn't have, at the end of the first movie, he's freed, so he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, that's true.
So there'd be that. Who else would with him, I really don't need anybody else. You know what? I'll fill out the other 2 slots with Phineas and Ferb.
Are they? Oh yeah, I guess
Just
that
for
is
sheer
technically
comedic.
Disney.
They are animated Disney
Yeah.
characters.
There you go.
So there you go. The genie from Aladdin and Phineas and Ferb. There's nothing that this team can't accomplish.
Well, Genie is a good choice, but I hadn't been thinking that before, so I won't steal that one. But my first pick would be Beast from Beauty and the Beast.
That's good. Got some brute going
Yeah.
for you.
Trying to think of, because it's tough because I'm trying to think through like animated movies. I'm like, is that Disney or is that one just Pixar?
Well, throw something out, and I can tell you whether it's correct or not.
I mean, like, I'd love to take one of like The Incredibles or something, but I'm pretty sure that's just Pixar.
That's just Pixar.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't think Disney has a hand in
Yeah.
that one.
Snow, do you have any?
Or is it-
Because
or is
I
that
can
even-
I can try to think of my other two if you have some.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Stitch for number one from
Oh,
Lilo and
Stitch
Stitch.
is a good choice. Yeah.
Because he's just crazy, and I'm pretty sure he can't die.
Yeah.
And what is it, like he's like a 6 on the international criminal, whatever it is, intergalactic
Right.
criminal scale or something.
On the scale that goes up to 5, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think I would need Eddie Murphy, so we'll have to go with Mushu from Mulan. Because
All right.
I would need somebody to keep me from going crazy if Stitch were
Yeah.
around.
For morale, basically, is
Right.
would be his role. I gotcha. It's good.
And then I'm gonna go with Merlin from Sword in the Stone.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Well, that's going back a ways
Yeah,
for him. But yeah, I like that team. I think that's a good team.
I think we got a good magic / comedy / crazy combo.
Yeah, yeah. You got all that. You got your fighter, your wizard, and your healer.
Healer. Goofy's always the healer in Kingdom Hearts. Or not Goofy. Goofy's the shield. Who's the healer? I guess they're all healers if you let
they all
them.
heal. Yeah, I think Goofy does get some.
If you let them use their potions, they will heal. Way too much, they will.
Yeah, indeed. What about you, Drew? You got 2 more
Yeah,
slots to
well,
fill out on your
I'm
team.
thinking maybe Peter Pan.
That's
Okay.
good. Yeah.
He can
Yep.
fly. He can fly. He can fly.
Well played.
Trying to think like what my team would be missing then. Like
Who's your first person?
Beast.
Beast. So you got Beast and Peter Pan. You don't have any
So
kind of long range weapon.
You've got your fighter. You've got like your rogue.
Yeah.
So
You
you
need-
could go with another magic type individual.
You'll need either magic or ranged somehow.
Yeah.
Merida
from Brave.
No. Although maybe the Robin Hood, like the Fox one.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good
Robin
one.
Hood. Yeah. Yeah, that's not too
That's a
shabby.
fantastic movie.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be like fighter, rogue, ranger kind
Yeah.
of party
Yeah.
build down. I like it. I like it, and I approve. That's the stamp
That's-
of approval.
Oh gosh, that sounded dangerous. That's a good note to end the questions on.
Yes.
Thank you
Indeed.
guys for the questions.
Yes,
Those were good ones. I enjoyed them.
they were thought provoking
I thought quite a bit for all of those. I sure did.
because you were provoked into it.
You provoke me.
I think it's really funny seeing that we keep getting questions from my relatives, like, and I know other people listen, and we do get questions from other people occasionally, like Mojo Fojo, Joe Fojo Joe. But
We will not stay chunky for the next 2 weeks, by the way.
Yeah, we were not instructed to.
No.
Such a
but
shame.
yeah, so I mean, as much as I love getting any questions each week, it'd be fun to hear from some other people. So other shipmates. I don't know what we call them. Other people in the listenership.
Shipmates.
Yeah, shipmates, sure, on the listenership.
You guys should submit something too. So
We need more booty.
be it Munchkin or otherwise.
No matter your height, we need your booty.
Nice. Very nice. And on that note, that's going to do it for this week. Thank you guys very much for tuning in and listening. Hope you enjoyed. Email us those questions, and we'll see you on the next one.
Adios, muchachos.
Bye.